Okay. Hmm. Okay. Hello, let's start this. Should go over there, should stay okay. So, trying to stream more and have less excuses. Things are messy, that's life. Let's do stuff. Okay, let's go to our normal thing. Let me move this ad here. No, sure. Okay, so I'm ready. Just a second. Okay, this works. Okay, let's talk about where we are with stuff. I like to open with that, especially not streaming for a while, I guess. Um, can we do around the arrows in this software? Maybe we'll just make a circle. Oh, this is not how I work with it. Let's just make us a round circle and change the thing into like a stripe. Okay. So I've seen TikTok content. It's not unique, but I like the way to look at this in a way. Let's say we have the product. We should spend time developing the product, of course. That's what we do most of our these streams and off streams. Off stream, we have our product which still gets developed, and I've closed all the windows that have it. Okay. And two. So we have our product. It should always start with, with our sales page just to show what we're talking about. Yeah, we're building this stream or code while you build. One coding session is marketing solved. We're gonna take your recordings or your stream VOD and make different pieces of content for it for posting on social media. This started from my own need. I've started streaming, building an Android time-lapse camera app, and I wanted to take that long stream and or VOD, whatever you wanna look at it as, and make other social content from it. But then you go into a video editor and you understand this takes a long, long time. And doing anything takes a while. And I've tried at least 5 different pieces of AI software, at least 5 different offers. I've tried clipping platforms. I've looked at like the script, and I've looked at using transcriptions and editing within Shortcut, which is what I used. I tried originally to use DaVinci on my old computer that didn't have a GPU and couldn't. I work on Linux. DaVinci is a bit hard to install. I can probably install it and work with it, but I don't actually want to do video editing. Video editing takes a ton of time. I want the computer to do video editing. Just cutting stuff, connecting stuff. If you look at any content for video editing, it's very repetitive. First thing is find all the parts, then you align them, then you need to decide on transitions. You need to decide what you're going to use from roll A. You want the audio most of the time, especially speaking videos, streams like that. You want the audio to part. Some people sometimes rewrite the audio, either re-record or AI it to change it. Usually you wanna transition between camera angles. Camera angles is used loosely because some people have multiple cameras. Most of what I expect have one camera. What they sometimes do is create a zoom in, so you have like a wide and a close shot. The zoom in is just focusing more on the face. What we do when we stream, we actually kind of have multi cameras that we can play with. We have the camera itself, we have the screen recording usually. We might have more sections, and we can play around with these video portions to create. We can still get B-roll either from the user, either provide more B-roll or produce it with AI or get it from third-party platforms. I'm not there yet, but you wanna also have sound effects every time, basically every 3 to 5 seconds. And it depends on the platform and video style, etc. But people usually try um, to switch scenes from the main one to something else. Hey Zach, good to see you. How you doing? Um, so I was just kind of trying to cover where we're at and saying why we started this. Basically, video editing takes a long time. There's a lot of stuff, and it's very repetitive, and I didn't want to do it manually. That's basically it. So I started doing a couple of software projects before where I started at least cutting things automatically and stuff. I've tried a lot of the third-party platforms. I didn't like any of them too much. Maybe the script has potential, but I couldn't even try it properly under a trial but it still seems like a lot of work. You need to click all the buttons. The clipping platforms actually are the closest to what I want, but no one is dealing with long video formats, which is what I really want to have. And I want it the most automated and the least clicks. A lot of the video editor types are focusing on giving you a lot of control. So there's a lot of clicks, a lot of things for you to do. Almost nothing is default. It's all tools that you have to use. Like the script is the thing I'm thinking about, but it's also in video editors. Probably if you go to DaVinci, I've seen a couple of videos. I didn't use DaVinci. I tried to use some features in Shortcut, like doing transcriptions and cutting from that. Basically, I want an automated one. Um, Started with the low-hanging fruits. This whole thing started with like Python scripts to update the VOD after I finish streaming in YouTube is a tool we currently have not automated, but you can get the outputs in the software. The other thing, we started having some clips from the segments. So what I try to do, um, long streams have a lot of things in them. So I'm trying to describe it as like we're extracting stories. A lot of times, if you develop, you'd start working on a feature. Well, I've modeled it on myself. So what I did before was having Ada Desk on screen, and I started working on 3 different tasks. So I'm starting to work on one task, I'm describing it, I'm letting the AI work. Then I come back and test it. I might like it, I might not like it. There are bugs, there's more stuff I want. I go back and do amendments, jump into the second task, and do the same there. But then I go back to the first task. So I wanted to make these into stories and segments. So a feature should be a story. Doesn't matter if I jumped in and out of it throughout the video like 5 times. I want that to be one story so I can make one video out of it. Or it could be that I take everything into one video, or it could be that I'll do individual videos, but I wanted that to be the lead for everything in the software. So that's why the first thing we do after transcribing is the story arcs. So the story arcs are these different features. I also describe that you might have personal stories during your streams. So that's another topic. And they have segments. And currently the segments can also be used as short clips. This is kind of temporary, or I don't know, because we already have it. I'm using just the low hanging fruit. Um, but there's a lot of features we can go into shorts. Um, the most common is taking the transcriptions and doing captions in the video, moving into short form, portrait style or lens, not landscape. What's the name? Vertical versus horizontal. Vertical videos. There's a lot to do. What I thought about those stories, especially when I'm focusing on features, they become the task list, what I've worked on stream, what's the status with it, and anything that's finished is a change log. So those are like my concepts so far. Blog post meaning we'll take all the stories. I didn't think it through yet, but basically we can take whatever content, whatever texts, or whatever we talked about as a base to a blog post. Either these are all the things we worked on, which is probably a very marketing blog, technical, like these things were added to the product, um, or this is like case stories that we tried in the product, or stuff like that, or it could be more personal as a builder thing. I've worked on this. This was really hard. This is a hard thing. This is what we did with it. This is how we walked through it. Or this is my life. I got another streamer I'm talking to that does things the other way. He takes the work he's done from Git, he looks at the commit, and he produces some text to produce into a video. So he goes from from code to video. I try to go from video lower. But he goes also and he's a real building public, transparent, goes into all the platforms, fetches his revenues and other numbers and shows them in video. So that makes me start to think about multi-input and not just the stream VOD. Like, can you add more stuff in? If you want to add your code into the input for AI to start processing interesting things out of it, it's interesting as an expansion to the platform, but it's like something that I'm gonna keep at the back of my mind. But this is the base idea for our product. Install it, you can work with it. I'll note it in a second about other things, feedback I got. Some people are a bit worried from installs. They say, oh, I'll do it later, I'll make a VM for it just to make sure, you know. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I get security, I get the idea. As that is part of the feedback, it could be part of the trend of everything being SaaS and no installs. It's easier, of course. But on the vendor side, it's going to cost money, so the product has to be more expensive. You cannot enable free trials as much. I don't know. I didn't necessarily go with locally installed out of that thinking, but after I build it, that's my thinking. Currently, I'm thinking about having like a secure run feature where I'm gonna specify here's a Docker container, how you can run it, so it cannot touch the OS. You give it limited directory access, possibly even limiting its networking. I'm not sure I should go back to people with those concerns and verify what will satisfy them. Because in one way, you know, you can never satisfy people, or you can maybe they just need the most basic. I'm thinking as myself, if someone goes through that effort and gives me all these details and all that thing, which is probably closed off more than my test would be, then it builds the trust that new software, new people, new brands need. Because no one would care, like for DaVinci Resolve, most people are like, oh, everyone knows it, it's a big company, I can install it and not worry too much. Like you don't do it for each product, but when a random person on the internet, I guess, comes to you and it feels like he's targeting you, I feel really bad about this. I genuinely like dev streamers. I like to talk to developers. I'm a developer. That's the highlight. I love that. I love looking at other software and apps and whatever. I love to critique and recommendations. I love brainstorming more than I love the development stuff. I mean, I like the development stuff. I just love brainstorming, whatever topic, fixing stuff, coming up with solutions. Creative doesn't matter. Physical software. um, Yeah, so I jump into people's streams to talk to them, but I also kind of market to them, and now I'm like on the verge of maybe a CRM on, and that kind of feels bad to me because like I come to the stream and I'm friendly. For me it's like friendship kind of thing between coworkers and friends and like having some fun. But then if I'm talking CRM, like I am, I am marketing this even if it's like 0.1% of my interaction. I'm like, oh, what you're doing, talking about them mostly. I'm saying, oh, I did this. If you want to have a look, or if you're happy to give me like a just a landing page review, that's kind of my marketing. But I'm not. I'm having a hard time because I don't want to be selling marketing, but I have to do something, and I I just don't like the perception of me being like, manipulative because of it. That I don't know. That's part of the thing. So I wanted to start. I've seen a video that described it well as the things you need. So there's the product. I've showed the product a bit. Um, he talked about it like a funnel, so your sales funnel or whatever, and content, which I'm not sure if this is a separate or not. That's how he described it. Maybe we work from content, content. We'll work from these concepts, and we might not like them as they are, but I love this as the circle of things you need to focus on. So it's like, oh, you have to spend, let's say, he didn't say 30% and 30%. He talked about just putting 5% into the funnel, but he's also focused on maybe more selling services, although he did say develop a product, but he's like, oh, you're gonna let them book a meeting and you're gonna have a sales things and what he sells. I don't know, he has like a school community, oh, $100, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, you want the 10K a month target. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff, but I'm thinking what's relevant for me and what's not. Um, Working on product is like the most native thing, is what I do most of the time, and it's like my downfall, as probably a lot of developers, is just focusing the product, just making more features, improving it, and just this is endless because I can work on this product for my lifetime. I'll always find something to add, especially as an idea guy. I can always do more stuff. And I actually have a huge time defining MVP or stop having a standpoint or a version or saying this is not worth any more input. I don't know when things finish, honestly. That's a problem for me. The thing that I thought about the camera app was maybe this is something I can box and finish as like there's only so much, at least for the time lapse, you know what you want. I don't know. It feels if there's a physical component to it, maybe it's more boxed in. I was also trying to make physical products at some point. 3D printing, CNC, plastic injections, until I decided it's not really for me and came back to software. But so the thing is, I think each one might be infinite. Content production, of course, is infinite. Basically, you can make as much content as you have time. Um, and the funnel, I don't know, people like just optimize it endlessly. I don't know. I'll probably need to put time into funnel and content more. Yeah, so I don't know. I've started with I'm gonna stream every day and I'm gonna stream the product, and then I'm like finding myself like 2 3 days between times I stream because I'm like, this is still broken in the same state. I don't have what to show. This is a bit boring. I'm working on back end stuff. I'm working with things that people are probably not gonna care. I don't have stories for them. They're kind of horrible-ish thing. So I've worked for 2 weeks just on the launcher, and it was still horrible. And it's still I hated how it looks. I don't like how it looks now. Let me show what the launcher is like. So I'm using Linux here. If you really care, I can open the Windows VM. It's just a bit more messy for me because I'm on Linux. I have a VM for building and for testing, and the actual reason I had it is for StreamerBot. So this is the current launcher. Before I didn't have this green light, and it was you were just waiting on one thing, and it was always not crashing, but it finished, but it said like it's still in progress. And even with that, I had the audacity to go to someone and say, "Oh, look at my product. Try this." Of course, it doesn't work when you try to demo it. It's probably because I'm also running the server here. I hope. So I'm thinking there's way more errors for me than would be for a user because I run the servers and I do a lot of because usually I don't have it packed enough where the installed version is super different from the local version. I've tried to make it different ports, for example, different directories. Sorry. But I'm probably not consistent enough to have that separation and they collide. Yeah. So this is a good launch where the launcher ran, it did everything, and then it opens a browser. This is not perfect. You've seen this opened in the background for me. It's not good. Um, this is not even the main screen. I'll close the browser. But this launcher that looks like nothing. It's a gray background. I wish I needed to keep it on screen. Uh, Actually, it should be somewhere running in the background. If I can get it back. Oh, it's here. I walked too hard. So this ugly gray launcher that might have been prettified a bit by these bullet points, which is a recent addition, and it's now actually running. I don't know now why it's in red. I hate this little piece of thing, but it was a required component because what I actually have the app is a Python server that needs a lot of packages to install. Um, there are executables that I'm reusing, like Whisper and FFmpeg and FFmpeg, which are different in different operating systems and they are not installed properly by Python. So there's one file, which is the OS file, which has the executables. When you see the platform, I believe that's that. And there's the app, which is the code and other files that we use, like the prompt file, whatever. This is like the actual app stuff. So the code I'm actually building, how it's shipped. And then the runtime is basically it's not exactly the code. The Python is building a virtual env and then going and installing all the packages. And it pulls a ton of packages. It takes a long time. And then the service is just when the app starts. I skipped the launcher. The launcher also has a section that it goes and fetches the latest version of the launcher from the website, checks it. If it fetches first just the version data, the metadata saying this is the latest version. And then if it's different, it asks you to upgrade the launcher and it will get the new launcher. And then it's an ugly process because operating systems and stuff, and it's a bit different between Windows and Linux. But um, it basically needs to take the executable, kill the current executable, use a temporary thing to move the executable back, and then run it. And of course, it closes the software. There's no good UI for that process. In Windows, the entire thing also looks kind of bad with terminals opening all the time. I don't like the launcher, but I needed the launcher because that's the only user-friendly way I could deliver this product as a local install. I don't know. It did cross my mind doing a full desktop app thing, but then I was like, what do I know about desktop apps? Nothing. And then I was like, okay, I know web dev. Let's go with web dev. We can always convert later. There's gonna be options and stuff. This would have been better as a full desktop app, but I just never been built them, especially not recently, especially not multi-OS. The thing that crossed my mind is Java as a cross compatibility, but I hate Java. Java is really heavy. It's not performant. I hate it. It's like it consumes 2 gigs of memory just to start up with like an hello world. I hate the result of Java. I hate Java as a user. I hate opening Java apps. I just hate Java. So I'm like, no, no Java. um, so eventually I just decided, okay, we'll do web dev and we'll kick the can down the road if we're going to change. So apparently this launcher, this 2 weeks, probably more than 2 weeks, um, it's just yeah. So this is a necessary evil. I hate it. I have it. I didn't want to share it. I didn't want to share it because I hate it so much. I hated every part of it. I hated working on it. I hate the result of it. But it's working. It's what I needed. It's the software I needed. I don't know. Like every time I see it on screen, I just hate it, and I have no idea how to change it because I wanted the you want minimum GUI for the launcher. You want it to start fast. I don't know if it starts fast enough. On my Windows VM, you first get the Windows launcher loading thing, and then I look at it for like 10 seconds, doing nothing and thinking it's not working anymore. And I hate that experience for a user, but I didn't solve it. I asked AI multiple times to review it. I've tried to understand what the process is. The problem is I'll need the package no matter what. I don't know. That's what I have. I hated it. That was my excuse for not streaming for a long while. I just didn't wanna talk or share this part. There's also shortly less than a day of work, I think. Probably with changes maybe between 1 and 2 days. Did some telemetry stuff. I don't think people would like to see that telemetry stuff. Like as a builder, it might be interesting. As a user, if I show you telemetry stuff, it doesn't look good. There's two things I really don't feel I feel are part of the building journey. Actually, these three. The things that are part of the building journey I'm not proud of or don't think I want to share is that like this launcher which I showed you, which just I don't like anything about, but it's there. Um, telemetry. I don't know. It's kind of creepy. Is not the word. It's one of those things in between. I can show you everything, like, but I feel people who watch these streams who might use this product are gonna have a negative feeling from seeing telemetry. Most of it is just reporting bugs. But there's also like, I wanna know, you see this launcher, I wanna know stuff, especially for solving issues. If I get an error anywhere on the journey, I want to know. But sometimes you'd have the launcher crash without giving any error, or the code doesn't report the error. So what you want to do is kind of like keep alive reporting. So I want to have a call when the launcher loads. I want to have a call when the platform loads. I want to have a call when the app loads, and then when they're on that. So each section you wanna what's the name? There's a name for basically you wanna send an event for anything that happens in the program, but then it starts being, are you collecting too much? Are you spying on me? Are you doing it like for yourself or for other reasons? Or I don't know. Are you gonna sell the data? Or is it gonna be like is it gonna hurt me long term or something like as a user? I don't know. I have these. I don't know what the balance between collecting and keeping privacy is. As like a product manager, someone that looks um looks on the product and tries to understand what worked and what didn't, you want the most amount of information. As a user, you don't want your information transferred. I've tried to balance it out by having a feature that I didn't test properly yet. Um, I wanted to. This is now gonna crash because I closed the thing. Let's use the development version. Um, So I wanted to offer the options. Yeah, I've closed all the servers. This is not an actual error. This is just server down. Which is stupid, by the way. It shouldn't be 500 internal error if there's no server. But that's another bug. So I thought what to do about these privacy versus data. A lot of times you get these In websites, you have the approved cookies and approved tracking cookies and approved things. In most software, you don't actually get maybe any options. Thinking about. I don't remember seeing software that you actually get the options. But what I wanted to do is, still when you do the things, there's still like a marketing element. You want the user to prefer what you prefer, but you want to give them the options. So we have privacy offline, which we don't get anything. What I wanted to offer is like first class. First class for me, what I wanted to have is like a proactive support. So I want to see that the software crashed for you specifically, and I want to contact you about that crash once I fixed it. That's what I call proactive support. I don't know how many people are. I don't know if that's not a thing a lot of companies do, right? But suppose a lot of times they talk about trying to help the customer within SaaS. Sometimes with new companies that are really customer focused, it happens where they would just usually it's automated emails on like after days. Oh, you set this up. You're stuck with this. Can we help you? Do you want to hop on a call? We can walk you through or do something like that. Sometimes still building and there's gonna be tons of bugs. I wanted to have like, oh, this feature crashed, or you tried this thing and it didn't work. I fixed it. I wanted to have that product active, so instead of the user having to open a ticket and he's waiting for it to actually know that to actually know stuff and talk to him about it. And ultimately, I wanted to offer so visionaries offer different contacts, not just email. If you want me to come to you on Discord or WhatsApp or whatever, I'll come to you. Just give me some contact information you're happy with. But that also means uh, I'm not treating you as anonymous. It means that I know who you are and I know all these stats are attached to you. And in a way, this is the default for me for the start as a concept. That's the thing. I don't know where to put the borders at, where to put the borders at on what to collect, what not to collect, how to connect. Because if I only talk to one person, I have one customer. He's the only one active in the system. If it crashes for him, I know it's him, the event. I'm gonna talk to him. The problem is people trying your product in the dark and not giving you any feedback. That's the default state of everything. The default state is people will try to your product. You might have 100 people try your product, and you're gonna get zero feedback from any of them. And you try to reach out, and out of 10, out of the 100, maybe 10 somehow you even open your email, and then if you're lucky, one person will respond. And this might be good for that specific person, that specific problem. But it's not statistically meaningful, and you still don't have no idea where the 99 other went to. What happened? Um, this is not really a mass public consumer app. This is for streamers. I almost feel like this is named, by name. I got maybe 10 people I talked to. There's maybe three who tried it. There's just one active that's gonna work on it. So I'm gonna know who that is, whether they want it or not. The only way that I have no idea is if they go private and I report nothing. The middle thing is an anonymous, so you let me have the events, but I don't know. I don't know your contact details. I don't know who you are. I know there's a user in the system. We call him AB5. AB5 had a crash. AB5 was AB5 was using a transcription. The transcription broke and gave an error. I can fix the error. I don't know how to tell AB5 that I fixed the error because I don't know who AB5 is. This is the normal standard way most telemetry is used, is passed. When when companies track you and report, most of the time, what's actually used is that you get a user called AB5. You might start attaching things to him. But what you care about is that AB5 tried 2 YouTube videos and 1 Twitch, and he went to the transcription, and the transcription crashed on 2 out of the 3. And depending on how much you collect, you might know what the link was, you might not, you might know what the computer, you'd probably collect and know what operating system he was at. You'd probably have his IP. You'd probably have a bunch of data, but you'd still call him AB5, and you're still not gonna trace him down and contact him. You're like, we fixed the issue AB5 had, or we fixed the issue that, like, AB5 started an issue, but there were 10 unique computers that had this issue. We fixed the issue for those 10 unique computers. The 10 unique computers maybe all had the same OS version or same CPU or same something, same browser version, browser add-ons. I don't know. You collect the data and you hope to figure something out. What's in common for these 10 people that had this crash versus the other 99 that didn't. That's why you want a lot of data. That's why you collect a lot of more data than people would be happy with sometimes, where a lot of times it's just always details, hardware details, browser versions, details like that. You just want versions of things to be able to reproduce. What you want to say is like, here's a system description. Can I put this system on my computer, or this fake the system like that, and try to do the same and get the same results? That's what the developers want. That's what the product managers want. That's what QA or whoever looks at this wants. People on the security side sometimes say, okay, if I take all this information and I start going into these third parties and I start processing this and I really try to locate the user, I can't. Companies don't do that. This is like hacker level work. This is people that are looking for usually VIPs and somehow bumped into a collection of data that they shouldn't. And but like, companies don't care. They don't sell it. They don't want that to happen. They don't. This is not. This is not something you want. But where I'm kind of in between is, as I said, if there's only one user, I only got one person to install and try it. I know who that person is. Even if I had even if I have one event which just says crashed on telemetry, no information, no computer information, no IP, no nothing besides that line, I still know who that user is because I only have one user. So I still can contact him and treat him as first class. Uh, but I call first class. I have him named. I know that person. That's where things kind of get muddy for me if I'm doing too much or too little, or if I'm like, if people would perceive it wrong. I think as long as it's like one-on-one connection level, it's fine. Once it starts being people coming randomly to the site, and not while I'm talking to them, not that I onboarded them, there was no personal one-on-one, then I think it starts being different. I don't know if people have thoughts about this out there. Glad to hear. So this is kind of an idea, and it's a first implementation. I didn't test it. I admit I didn't test it. I don't know if it works properly. I know it's in the app and not the launcher. So the launcher would still report for now. What I'm thinking is putting it into the launcher as a pop-up and letting you select and interact with that there. So it will start with the launcher. I would save it from the launcher to the app, backend to front end, and then it will be true everywhere. But this is a future task I'm not actively working on unless someone would raise those concerns and really care. Um, or the other thing, which is the security part. So let's say from the funnel and contact, let's talk about the reactions I got from this is if we're talking about building public and being open, let's talk about a couple of things. Maybe we'll do it like that. So let's say this is me as the production producer, whatever. Group one. Let's describe group one. Looked at the it's a lot to add. I'll redesign later. Looked at the homepage, said cool. That's it. Some people either it's not for them, that's fine, whatever. Um, Not relevant. I don't know why some people are like, I think they might find it interesting, but they don't. That's fine. No worries. Um, there's group two, which is like the interesting, says this is for me. These are the people you want because this says, yeah, this is the target customer. Mm, you've passed the qualification of they're interested. Um, let's talk about the simple one. Try, try this immediately. So these guys actually provided a lot of feedback, and well, I don't know if a lot of feedback, but let's talk about feedback type one here. We'll come back to it. Let's just finish the groups. The biggest group three, I think, is this is for me, but I'm gonna try it later. Usually a security concern. Security concern or trust issue. So what they're saying is first, not now, not on stream. Obviously that's more than acceptable. It's still weird for me to talk to people on stream and kind of ask them to look at it or try it. Or I don't actually expect them. I love when they look at the landing page and this is and give me feedback, and this is enough for me for the first stage. I'm I probably wouldn't try it live on stream either. I don't. Maybe I would, maybe I don't. It depends how complicated. It depends on a lot of small data. That's fine. But most of them added that they're gonna create a virtual machine to limit it and try it in a safe environment. So this is like the feedback to is the safe environment part. So I started noting safe environment. So again, I have no problem with this. I actually want to come to the customer and help with them with this. I was brainstorming a bit yesterday, and I need to go. I think I said a line in the start of the stream, but I don't really like repeating myself, but I probably should get used to it where it happens sometimes. Oh, a lot. Give me a sec. Gather my thoughts. So I started brainstorming this as like a basically taking it on me as offering this as a feature. What would it mean? How do I make it easy for people? I can think of full virtual environment. I'm using some kind of VM on Linux, QEMU, KVM. I don't even know what it is. I used virtual machine, virtual something. What was the other name? I don't. It doesn't matter. I've used a different virtual machine thing before. I'm not sure I've used it on Windows. I've used this on Linux all the time. I'm sure there are, but that starts being like a lot of different software. It takes tons of times and tons of resources. You need to get a big image, a lot of times 10 gigs. I don't know. The Windows machine is like 10 gigs. You need the disk space. It creates another copy of it of times. You have to go through the process of actually installing. Um, there's a whole lot of things. It's a whole project to do VMs. But I know Docker. I use Docker a lot. Docker also gives some virtualization, not to the same level. It's less. It's a bit more porous. It allows more connections to the OS, but the default is kind of safe. The question is what people expect. So I'm starting off like, yeah, you can probably run it in a Docker. I didn't try this yet. I just brainstormed with AI. And I'm like, okay, what's the next level? The next level, people were asking about like networks calling home. Will it send my video? S- I didn't respond in any extreme way, but I'm like thinking, sending your video, sending gigs to the server for what purpose? Because I offer two different ways to bring videos into the software. One is from already public VOD. So if it comes from YouTube or Twitch, it's already on the internet. It doesn't matter. What do you mean sending it to myself? That doesn't make any sense. The second one is from a recording. So if you actually record but don't stream live, or for another reason you just think let's say you don't save public VODs, let's say maybe you stream live but you save the recordings, you don't save the VODs publicly, you just save the recordings privately. So if something happened during the stream, you might clean it. You're off that thinking that, oh, something could happen on stream. Maybe it's short enough, people don't notice, they cannot go back, and let's say they didn't use the clip feature or whatever. Or it's there was no one that would try to take advantage at that time, but if it's up, gonna be like automated software scanning or whatever. I wanna make sure I edit and remove such parts before uploading. It's fine thinking. I'm trying to say all the options of different people's thinking processes without being judgmental. I'm trying not to be judgmental. I'm trying to understand different people's perspective and accept them all as equally valid. I'm just not sure if I'll convey this meaning in the way I speak. But I think each one is fine. Because the person A that puts the VODs might put more time investment into making sure his environment doesn't include anything personal that he could leak. The second person says, I cannot avoid it. Something would leak. I just want to reduce the surface area for it to be exploited, which is fine. It's not. It's a bit security by security. It's not perfect security, but it's an improvement. It's a control that he has in place. Fine. So people might be worried about sending those unedited videos to my server. I don't find a lot of sense in it for myself because it's really looking for a needle in a haystack that is really expensive. Huge files, huge links, lots of processing. I'm not sure what you'd find. Yeah, I can get, I don't know, even like, I get maybe people trying to find personal information. That's the same group that would really care about tracking. Um, I don't find it too logical, but what I want is to be able to show the customer by almost like a third party that 100% this is not done. I don't want them to trust my word. I want to convey that word by a third party. What I currently have is just GitLab pages as a website. I don't even have a server running. I'm not paying for any server. I don't want to pay for a server. I'm frugal. That's why I like the local app thing. So there's zero chance for me. The question is, how do I convey? So part of the thing that got me started thinking inside Docker about limiting the networking. I hoped we can do it with the one-liner, but apparently it's probably not that. Like if I could in the one-liner enable some networking but not others, and have it in the run line in a way that people can edit it, that would be a perfect solution for me. It's like unable to even specific files, unable to download these three or five specific files from this website, no other URL. So this is my website that I showed before. Just fetching those files that I described. One is a new launcher version, one is a new code version, and one is the attached executables that we're using. And I only need these three paths, something like that. That's part of the core functionality. And if you are okay with it, there's the telemetry site. I use currently PostHog. I'll probably, when I get a new bank card, I'm doing a new name and I buy a domain, and I'll probably put PostHog under a domain, under the new domain. For good or bad, this is probably what's gonna happen coming soon. And even those things where I'm gonna switch over, I don't know if that creates a bit of what's the word? Less trust, because maybe I'm trying to manipulate. I don't know. I'm trying to be the most critic of this or of myself to see the point of view from other people. So even changing those and kind of hiding post hog inside the domain, although this is normal practice, this might seem like I'm trying to bypass or hide something. By the way, you can see post hog calls here on screen. This is USI post hog. This is the telemetry. I do kind of keep alive thing. Um, I thought about like knowing how long people use the software, but a lot of this is also for crashes, just to know if it worked or not, just to know where people in the process, where the software broke that isn't documented as like an exception that we caught and delivered. But there's also like yeah, when you get data, you want a lot of stuff. You want to know how much time things take, not because you want to know the user's computer too much. You just want to know if it's bad, if it's a bad experience. Does it take too long? Do people keep staring at the screen? Do their transcription take 20 minutes instead of my 2 to 3 minutes? Because I didn't think that people have certain other hardware or something that I didn't consider. I don't know, like Whisper, if you have GPU, it will use GPU and it's faster. If not, it's CPU bound. I don't know what computers people use. I assume that streamers have like a minimum hardware spec, or else it's really problematic to stream. So they probably have something decent, but I never know. I don't know if suddenly it works way slower, faster, and Windows versus Linux, it's hard to test, or a Mac in the future. Um, there's a lot of stuff you can't account for. So having good data helps. Getting back, so I have to have those three URLs for the software on my own website, which is a GitLab pages. It doesn't run a server. I don't know if I can prove to people it doesn't run a server, especially if after I'll do my own domain. But I cannot get any. I can. If the internet was perfect, I'd show it's only GET requests, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have a payload. It does mean it has a smaller payload. It probably cannot. It cannot contain a video. You can. There's someone always does a thing. There's surely someone who made like, oh yeah, I can upload a video if I chunk it down to 10 million calls, because there's just 1K or 4K or whatever the number is. There's some small number that you can pass in a get call, and people will chunk it down. So I cannot make that as a here. Can you see that this is not passable? That for sure I didn't send myself a video. Um, course, they can see their own network metrics and other things. I'm trying to provide something for them that would show it. So if I can block the site to have a limited number of URLs, it's even bigger. Maybe that's too much. Maybe I just limit to domains. So my first concern is Docker itself doesn't have that. What it does have is networking, and what we can put is what I call like third party promise. We can put another piece of software, which is a known open source proxy of some kind, and that proxy will be configured in a Docker Compose. So the user will see the exact list of URLs we're accessing. So I can limit the networking at least for domains. It's easy. So I can show this is only my website, post hoc for telemetry, and if you delete it, hopefully it would work. I'll need to test that because anything you add like that, it's just another dimension of testing. Because what I don't want to happen is someone trying to delete is removing post hoc, and then the entire thing crashes and doesn't work. So it does create a bunch of more work. And also besides those two fixed domains, I allow you to use any LLM that you want. So it could be local, it could be one of a huge and growing number of domains. I'd probably put a default, like here are the three top ones the ones that I recommend at the moment. I recommend them mostly because I tested them and I used them. So I have OpenRouter as the top, Gemini, and OpenAI. I didn't use neither Anthropics nor Claude. Uh, it works if you'll say it. I didn't try them. I didn't try them with the software. I used Claude a bit before. I didn't try Perplexity at all. But it shouldn't matter. The thing is, if I'm blocking domains, it should be in the list, and the list is customizable and infinite. Mm. So it adds some things for me and some things for the customer, mainly for the customer if they want to have their own domain. It makes some work for me to have that available list and easily usable and to do testing for that. And I feel like the number of testing starts growing because I have the Windows and Linux with the launcher. There's the Linux I'm working on, which is like the just the dev server, and there's the install server. And at some point, you want to say, "Oh, the launcher is fine, and it always runs the software, and it's identical." You want to say it. It doesn't always true. It's like until the moment everything breaks and you didn't notice because whatever. There's always a whatever. I can make one that I know is like some packages change. So I don't know. The launcher specifically installs one package for the UI or something manually, and it's like hard coded. And if something changes, it won't be updated, and it will only be shown when you try to run it. And I do have tests for the launcher. I have automated tests for the launcher for end to end, and they're probably not the best. They're just like the minimum of showing something, but you never catch it all. Anyway, so safe env. This is one of the things that I've noted here as a task. I want to make something. So the biggest points currently, and I should probably go up the list. And the things I think we've did here that um we can check off. Launcher updates for actually we've done and it works. We are currently in here and we're going down. We're ignoring some of the tasks on top. Probably should check off some things we've done. Transcription, currently I'm doing something. And I've done a lot of work on each of the steps, the video, audio, and transcription, and I need to know that they flow to each other, and I'm not convinced this is happening. So it's kind of funny where I went back and forth on some features. So originally I wanted this software to be very much led by recordings. You give the directory, because that is the flow I imagined for myself that I've started to try is I have a directory and each time I stream, there's new files landing in that directory as the recording. So when I open the software, should find the new files, load them, and let me work on them. But there's more details in those files than in imported ones. So I thought about making stuff easy, and someone asked, "Oh, I can point to YouTube." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you can point to YouTube. Let me build that." So this is the easy tried out phase. I show it. Where's the software? Let me. I want to keep this window. Open this window. There's a different screen on the welcome, but they look about the same. There's the work from your directory, which I call recommended, and there's a quick spin. It's a bit broken text here. This is not me. This is the AI running. It's running from yesterday night and still running. I don't know what's going on. Should probably look at it. Let's go back. Streams. So there's two paths for you for the streams. As I said, there's the browse. Pick a directory for your recordings, and we're gonna fetch new video files. That's the objective, and load them all and make sense of them and connect some of them, whatever. There's a lot of logic I'll mention in a second. And there's the quick spin, give us a URL. So the things with the URLs with the VODs, part of the reason for the difference is, of course, VOD is going to be a bit lower quality. You have to broadcast in the constant rate and not in variable rate. So they might be bigger for the same quality, but you cannot condense the same quality. You cannot use the same encoders. For local recordings, you use AV1, and for streams, you're using the 256 dot something. I forget the exact names. Um, but basically, your VODs will always be lower quality than recordings. It's a given because you have less options. Basically, you can record in way higher bit rates locally. So for the VODs, for Twitch, you're limited to. They tell you the maximum logically is 6 megs for normal streamers, non-affiliated, non-partnered, I don't, non-partnered. They tell you the recommended is 6 megs. They have a hard limit on 8 megs. That's megabits per second that you stream. And locally, you can go 20, 30, 50, 60 megabits easily if you want top quality from a core for a 4K video. You can do 40 megs a second easily, and that's normal. And you can ever have that level of quality over Twitch. What I noticed with if you go really high on qualities locally, it's also a lot to process and to rewatch and stuff. So it records it, but it might be that your player is not even willing to play it. Only video editors are actually usable with it, and even then, they usually you use a proxy version worse quality for editing, and then just the rendering is in full quality. But anyway, so the links, the recorded VODs on the platforms first are going to be lower quality. They might be decent quality. They might be enough. I'm not saying they're bad. They're good enough, but they would never be the best if you actually try to maximize the quality. Second thing is audio tracks. VODs would only have one audio track. There's good and bad for it. It's good for the software to pass some stuff. I can skip the audio selection and stay. You only have one audio track. This is your audio track. And we can talk about if you were talking about YouTube and the VOD is, I don't know if to say like old enough, had enough time. It created transcripts, and we can use the YouTube transcript. We don't have to retranscribe it. It's your choice. You're going to be allowed to do both. I use the YouTube transcript or use our transcription, use the local transcription. We're using Whisper locally, run, Pointly, whatever default options. We'll tweak it over time. I don't know. I didn't compare them yet. Now you can compare them. Now there's a feature you can compare. It's like from last night. Um, that's where I got it. You can see I have a lot of transcriptions here. Can you even see this screen? No, you cannot actually see the screen. Thought you did. Let me fix the screen for a second. Hopefully this doesn't crash the stream. Don't. It's working. Da, 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 da. Hopefully we're back. I'll just cross my fingers for now. I did ask nicely, don't crash the stream. I tried to refresh this screen, which didn't refresh for some reason. See, are both screens working? Yeah. Okay. So I was saying, we now have multiple transcriptions. Just delete this entire thing and add it again. Hopefully downloading the video doesn't flood the stream too much. Just the same. No? Come on. Okay. So the normal process is this is the easy process is you point to a VOD. This is one of my VODs. You can see it's under live, 33 minutes, whatever. If you're asking the title description are from chapters are from the tool. It might be from an earlier version of the tool, but this is if you want to see what the output of tool is like. This is what it's like. You can customize it, refine it. You can do a lot of things. You can make it your own. I'm not saying it's good. I admit I barely read it. I might have skimmed it at some point. I don't necessarily love the chapters, but they're better than having no chapters in my head. Because you can find some interesting things and less interesting things and say, okay, I'm just gonna jump ahead. If you don't have it, it's like either I like the video, I don't like the video, and I close it. If you have it, it's like, okay, maybe I find something interesting in here and I can watch part of your video. So I think this tool is like the easiest thing to use and the first thing to use. It's it's the most value for least work in my mind. I don't know if other people would think different, but this is my point of view. Um, so it's going to download the video. You can see we skipped automatically over video. You have the player here. You have sections and parallels, and I'll talk about it in a second. And of course, when you demo stuff, this is like the uh, broken local version. The audio, you only have one track. It's selected. You can extract it or not. The transcript, you see YouTube input. And if we this is so you can use that immediately and move on to the next stage. So that's the quickest value. Is you put the YouTube, goes, you go to the content arc, you start mining. What's going on today? Thing is broken, but you press it. You have to define an LLM. That's bring your own key. You can create. You can use whatever provider you want. This is the recommended section. It's also a recent addition from this week, from the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, I think. Um, we say use this. You can see I'm testing them because they're added already. So the reason they're recommended is because I tested them and I know them and I use them normally or yeah. That's the reason they're recommended mostly, and they also have the models which I think are the best. I know other people would think other models are the best. It's fine. You can use any of this huge list of models. You want Olama, you want local, you want a custom one and an OpenAI compatible one. I don't know. You want whatever. Azure, Anthropics, custom OpenAI. I don't know how they work. DeepSeek. I'm just pointing out names that I know, like GitHub Copilot. uh, whatever they are here. I don't know how this works. So this is provided by Light LLM for other developers that care. I don't know. They work. I tested a few. You can see the when you start a new one, you have the API. I moved to hide the custom base URL, but it's available. Just I try to simplify. Once you put the API key, it will do test connection automatically. Or if something changes, I don't know, you have the key here and you wanna there's some error and you go handle it in the provider and you don't want to touch it and you wanna just press connection test, it works. And then it moves to connection verified. I'll show you when I select a new one, that's the only thing you see is the API and you can show the advanced to do the thing. It shouldn't have verified here. Okay, bugs and errors, doesn't matter. So basically you put the key. It's not good that it just tested nothing. Um, and then you select the models. Begs. You select the models. There's the recommended ones, and there's the autocomplete. Whatever. If I want Gemini 3, nothing works when we demo stuff. It's normal. Gemini 2, Gemini 3, no, Gemini 2, 2.5. Like you can see, what I'm trying to show is that it filters the one on top, but there's also all models is still here because it got confusing when you have that, the filter only shows that. And then I wanted to not block you from seeing all the models. We have the pricing for easy reference. It's not our pricing. That's between you and the provider. If you have some other subscriptions or something that works, cool. This is the pricing again from that Light LLM can get. It's provided by the providers. This is the let's call this is the retail price for everyone, not your specialized price if you have one. I do wonder if there's a new way to use. I've seen the guy developing AutoCloud and he's using the Claude subscriptions. And there's now the Gemini subscriptions, and I wonder if there's a different way I should offer to set those up. You can see the dot here as the default provider. The default provider is the thing that we're using and approved. Should maybe look at this setup again. But basically, you approve and it would start the content transcriptions. But I want to go back here. So we have the YouTube imported transcript. If you want, you can do the local ones. So we use Whisper to transcribe if you're interested. Um, we detect here your hardware just to give a demo. I didn't go into the details of how this works, but this tries to understand if there's a high likelihood Whisper would use your GPU or it's gonna use just the CPU and try to give you that hint. Um, so if you're gonna use a virtual example environment, for example, you probably even if you have a GPU, it will be CPU unless you do advanced setups. But this is just a hint to know if it's gonna run on GPU or CPU. Probably. I don't guarantee it. But yeah, you can do with the transcription. Shouldn't take too long, and then we're gonna have two transcriptions, the YouTube and the part one to compare. Hopefully we solve that bug. Oh, the actually AI is still working on this bug. This is the last place I stopped yesterday. Oh, so the transcription finishes here, but the UI doesn't update. This page is flowing. I can't even refresh this. Are we good? It seems a bit broken. Am I actually using almost 40 gigs of RAM? Okay. Server, something. Okay. So now we have the YouTube import transcription and local transcription. If you want, you can open both of them. I'll open them in new tabs and you can compare. Um, should probably end the note here that it was the YouTube or the local one. But you can see they differ. I know which one is better. I didn't look at them honestly, but you can select which one you're going to use. And then I still need to verify this works. So this is the last thing I've worked on last night and where I should be picking up. But this is about the transcription. So another difference on, so this is the easy path when we, as I said, when we import a YouTube video, we only have one audio track. So all of this is kind of natively makes sense to only have one and one and just skip stuff. And you can also skip this because we had YouTube import. So basically you can go from importing, just downloading the YouTube stuff and go directly to step 4. If you're actually using files, um, then there's a bit more to it than just one file, than just one everything. I'll open one that works a bit better. Man. I fix bugs and then they come again. So when you import the library of files, we could be using a lot more features. So there's a description here for the sections and parallel sources. Should move this screen to the middle so I can look at you more. This is still working. This is working from last night. I'm surprised it didn't run out of tokens or whatever. Usage limit. Is there one file that works? So it looks proper. No, everything's broken today. Yesterday, when I left it, it was working. Doesn't help you, doesn't make it believable, but that was my experience. I've worked on it yesterday, midday. By the time I finished and moved on to transcriptions, it worked properly. But anyway, um, the file with less stuff. Just a lot to show and tell here. Maybe. Okay, can look at this as an example. So we describe the sections and parallel videos here. You can click it and then it stays, or you just point at it and read. So sections are basically if you had one stream but it crashed like I had a couple of minutes ago. I want to collect both videos as two sections of one stream. I want to treat both videos as if the stream didn't break. Why? I don't know. Logically, it makes sense for me. Maybe it's over engineered. Honestly, it could be way over engineered. I just know I crash the streams a lot for now, as I still don't know what I'm doing. It happens. I assume other new streamers will have that. So maybe it's not only my problem. Maybe it is only my problem. Because I understood the problem is the source record, which is the reason we actually have local recordings in multiple videos. You could never need more than one section and it will be fine. This is if you wanted two videos to be one stream. That was the idea. I still need to implement stuff, but the idea is for if you had a stream crash and you came back and streamed again, and you have those two recordings and you want to treat them as one stream. That's the idea of having multiple sections. The idea of parallel sources is, as I mentioned, if you record multiple parts separately. So you'll see here that basically I have what I stream as recorded. So what you see now on screen is one video track. I have a camera as full screen on another video track. Suddenly nothing works. Break the thing. I went back. Click here. So I have the camera on a video on another video track. I have the left screen on another video track and the right screen on another video track. And this is what I call parallel sources because they should basically be recorded on the same timeline, on the same length of time. They are what in a video editor you would put one under another as multiple video tracks that all have the same timelines. You should care for only one audio for all of those tracks, for all of those parallel videos. We only care about the audio from the main one, and you have the other ones in parallel. So this is for me ultimately for the long form video edit that you can do those A-roll, B-roll, whatever, jump between different cameras if you have them or different scenes. So if you're telling a personal story, for the recording, it doesn't make sense to produce a short or an edited video showing your full screen or your normal stream. If you didn't switch your stream to be your like full-sized camera scene, basically I want in edited videos to allow me to switch the scenes and basically show me as full screen talking to you because the share on screen is not interesting, or maybe make the part of the screen bigger for quality because the VOD I suddenly see that the text is not readable enough because I have so many things on screen. You have the chat and you have the other things, and I just want to make sure people see the actual text or the actual screenshot. Maybe I want to make the edited videos a bit different. So here in the VOD, I currently have the larger square video of myself. Maybe I want to change style and try to make just a round video or transparent background or anything else. We can reprocess those. So the reason I'm recording this is for the option for editing later. And the reasons I'm gathering it here is for that. What I'm thinking is the first simple feature is on the shorts to allow you to look at the other ones. So I recorded the VOD, but I'm just talking to you and want to tell a personal story, but this is how the VOD is. I didn't switch scenes in the VOD, in the stream itself. And the the app decided that this is a good video, but we care about the speaking portion, so I want to allow you to skip to the parallel source that you have yourself in full screen. So I'm probably going to use it in shorts first because, yeah, long form videos is a big endeavor that will happen, but will happen gradually with features, you know. It's a little bit hot in here. It's a lot hot in here. Yesterday was hot and today is getting hot, and we're just starting the day, so it's gonna be pretty horrible. That was a good excuse to also start streaming early today. There's less excuses for me to stream now than later in the day. Oh, that's why we had 1,000 transcriptions, because this is the browser controlled by anti-graph. You can see this halo effect around the browser, and I don't normally use Chrome or Chromium or whatever this is nowadays. Chromium. Use Firefox a bit more. I should also switch away from Firefox to Malibu. So you get it done. And this is part of anti-grav verification of its process, which a lot of times works well, but this task is, as I said, is running from yesterday. Honestly, I'm kind of running out of steam with the heat. Or maybe it's not the best phrasing. Um, yeah. So we started here. So we're trying to develop the product. Work on content is what we do with streaming and using the product. There's also another section here. I'm not sure if this is the reason, but they said I want to watch you use it. So we should be making like a product demo. The problem is those are gonna be on reruns, like reproductions all the time. Um, yeah, maybe I'd start. I don't know. Maybe I'll start every stream. Probably not every stream, but when we have major things on. Well, my thinking at some point was that every I stream every day, and each day I can open the day with using the software on yesterday's stream, and that's part of my content production. So it's a double-edged content production because I'm producing now how I'm editing yesterday, and this is gonna be the content for tomorrow. But since people ask about this, I feel this should also be. My mouse just died. Uh, my mouse does its job, but its battery life is pretty shit. Give me a second to find the right cord. Because I have a flexible cord that's still usable. Nah. Don't get a corded mouse with a stiff, the normal cables. At least this mouse came with a charging cable that's pretty flexible. I don't know, maybe I can show it to the camera. Um, this lets you at least work with the mouse while it's charging. Unlike the Apple Magic Mouse, which you just put it as a dead mouse into charge, which is the stupidest thing ever made. Not really, but like anyone that used it knows what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'm sorry. The charging port is under the mouse. You cannot use. You can look it up. And this is like a normal cable, but it's so stiff that if you move the mouse, it drags you back. So don't don't have cables like that for the mouse. Have cables like that. The reason this is a cheap mouse. What I like about it, and the reason I bought it, it has three modes. The 2.4 G, it's a dongle that comes with the mouse, Bluetooth and wired. When you wire it in, you don't have to switch to wired. It's automatically works on wired. So they didn't, yeah, whatever. The reason I actually like it now is that I can use two screens like it's a KVM. I can switch the mouse, sorry, two computers. I can switch the mouse to my other computer, which acts as the teleport, the second screen, teleprompter, or whatever. So I can just move the switch, control that laptop, set it up, switch it back, work on my main computer. Because I have the dongle connected to the laptop basically, and I set up the Bluetooth over on the desktop. Doesn't matter if it's this way or the other way, but so I so the the mouse is kind of its own KVM with the two wireless options or the cable. You can connect the cable even to a third computer, and you can have a three-way KVM for the mouse with just the mouse with no extra hardware. And it was pretty cheap. And I like the form factor, the clicks. I don't know. It's a pretty normal mouse otherwise. Just the three protocols makes it kind of special. Um, yeah. So the second thing about using it is the second objection is I want to see you move it. Um, the people that try it immediately had different bugs and stuff that I just built off. So the launcher didn't work with the first guy. I should still get back to him, but he also wanted to use the videos on the folder, which is funny because I put it as recommended, but it doesn't work yet properly. Because of the features I just showed you. There's more than just getting the video, because as I said, I expect the video to have more than one audio track. I'll say why in a second again, maybe. I expect to have a lot of recordings that might be related or not related, because that's how I have it set up. Maybe probably not everyone has the same setup. 100% not everyone has the same setup as me. Um, there's also gonna be a thing about naming the videos to connect them to the parallel videos. So the thing about the audio tracks is anyone that considered like streaming to Twitch with music might have two audio tracks, one for the stream and one for the VOD. So the idea with the VOD is removing the music. But basically you allow when you make this software, you allow for way more flexibility. What I currently have is one stream that the main track for the stream has the mic and the desktop sounds. I have a second track that's the mic only. That's also the Twitch VOD stream track. So the mic only is the track I want, or that you want when you're using the software. Because the thing with the track is we go and do transcription out of it. So if there is music that speaks words, or you have in the background, if you're watching a YouTube video in the middle of the stream and it starts speaking, that would be part of the transcription. And all decisions are based on that transcription at the moment. At the moment it's the only source of info. Later it would be one of a few. But basically, if you watch a YouTube video of someone telling a story and it's in the audio track, this software might think it's you speaking and it's your story and it's worth extracting, and it's not. And if you have a lot of these, this could be annoying. So the idea is for you to select the audio track where you have mic only if you have one. People can have more tracks, can have more mics. I've con- I've considered or talked with someone mentioned about having like the ASMR guys or clicky keyboard guys sometimes have they could have another mic for the keyboard. Most of them don't. I'm not saying this is standard. My mic filters out that noise. I don't have a noisy keyboard. I have a quiet keyboard and the other type. You could have other audio tracks. What was other options? I forget. Oh, at one point I was like, oh, this clicky thing is interesting for people, or it's part of the experience. It's something people want. Um, I did have at one point, I think it was when I considered recording or not streaming, I did have at one point software to create emulated mouse clicks and keyboard clicks. So if I had that set up, I'd probably have that as a separate audio track if possible. And again, only put the speaking track for the software, select that one. So I've shown I've shown that if we have not even the problem. So, so I've shown when you use the files, we could have parallel files. When we have the file, we have multiple audio tracks. I don't know if this is a file format thing, but the default for OBS is recording 6 tracks. Some of them might be empty. You can extract them. You can listen to them after they're extracted if you're unsure, or you can do it before. Um, what I assume kind of is you would know which one is your main one. Assuming you've set up OBS and you have multiple ones and you've did that out of choice, you probably know which one is your mic only. Select the best audio track for transcription, usually the one with clear speech. Makes sense, not the best word. Yeah. So the idea is for you to select the one that you know is the mic only. If you set as main, it will also auto extract. I should probably verify this. Oh, so this track I think is empty, which is expected. I was surprised that number 5 is not empty. So empty doesn't make sense. In some previous version that I thought less about the user choice. So I had a previous version with auto detection, but what auto detection does is pretty much extract all the audio tracks, try to look at the ones that are empty and remove them from consideration, transcribe all the rest, and then kind of let we have some logic and some LLM to go over and decide which audio track is probably the best. But that already consumes a lot of the, I don't know if a lot, that already consumes resources kind of without approval. So I kind of went a bit more manual now. I might bring that feature back later or rewrite that feature. But yeah, currently, basically, you're choosing manually which audio track you want to work on, and hopefully that transcribe um, all of that. I think I went too sensitive on the load um, CPU and GPU because I don't see much load at all when I run this, and this takes relatively little time on long videos. I don't know. Everything is proportional. For me, a long video at the moment is 2 hours. For other people, normal stream is 8 hours. I don't know how much performance. I don't know if it affects this. I did take under consideration if someone would try my software while they stream, and I didn't want them to break their stream without consciously clicking on something. So, for example, the launcher is going to download 2 or 6 gigabytes of packages for the AI. I prompt you to know that this is going to happen and to approve it. So, if you have issues with your bandwidth or disk space or something, I give you offer warning so you'd consider that and not surprise you with big actions. So that's, I don't know, this is like a cautious design approach. So anytime I consume something that might be a lot of resources, I try to have a manual approval. But I also want to let you have the global always approve after. So you might see it in your first run and say, I never care about download sizes because I have 1 gigabits of internet and I got 10 terabytes of storage and I got everything and I just don't care. Just click the approve once and you'll never be asked again. Um, but I want to ask you the first time because you could be like, oh, I know I need to clean disk space and I have no disk space and you're telling 2 gigs and no, just not now. I'll do it later. I need to clean up the disk space, or not now while I stream, because if I do, it will max my download, and that would cause some other thing and whatever. Just trying to be conservative in resource consumption, giving you the options. So also, this is going to use your GPU or CPU. If you're like maxed on GPU because of another thing or whatever, just giving you conscious choices every time I try to consume resources. And you can make it a one-off, or you can keep it as you'd always be prompt. The normal, I keep using approve to keep getting the menu because I'm testing. So I might test the approve always once, and I'll usually use the approve to know that the menus still work properly and stuff. So the more tested thing is approve once, but the approval is a big thing I want to happen for all these actions. Is this enough for today? It's just too hot. It's just too hot. Uh, Another thing I do is just spend time with a lot of other streamers, honestly, because of this, because of building this and stuff. Let's just say, wife. um, because because this is actually for streamers, and because I enjoy it, honestly. A lot of times, yeah, all the building public startup. These are the streams I watch even before I had the idea about me streaming personally, that started this side quest to this app. This was still my favorite streamings. I don't find a lot of them, honestly, and it's a lot of time finding them because most streams are under software and game developer and are games. And the Twitch algorithm is horrible. If you didn't try it, if you don't know it, I go and say not interested in each one of the games, and I still keep getting them, and there's nothing to improve on the algorithm. And I put not interested on other languages that are not English because I don't understand them. I don't know Japanese. I don't know Spanish. I don't want to watch them. I don't know Russian. I don't want to watch Russian. Like, I keep getting all of those, and I keep doing not interested, and I keep getting them again and again. So building AI agent, that's interesting to me. This looks like Unity or whatever one of these. I'm not interested. I would just want to say these tags do not show me Unreal Engine 3, 5, sorry. Unreal Engine, not interested. Game Engine, not interested. But I'll keep getting those, and it's really hard to find the actual developers. I don't like the PNG tubers and whatever. I sometimes like art. Okay, so this is Russian. I'm not gonna watch Russian. Yeah, so I do this a lot to try to find developers. I used to try the searches. They're not very good, the YouTube search. I am thinking about building my own, building a tool, just building an app just to find developers. And it's not it. I thought about this again even before I started streaming or was on this side quest for this. Well, yeah, so just me. You probably are not hearing the audio because I have the desktop audio low. When I watch a lot of videos, I usually when I hear the audio, so I might open a lot of streams and watch in parallel and jump between them, and then I care only for the audio, so I put the quality on the medium, and so I just use the audio, so I go down because I don't have a large bandwidth for everything. I don't have a large bandwidth on my internet, so I cannot watch a lot of channels at 1080p or 720. I can watch one of them, maybe two. But I mostly care for the audio and talking to people. When there's something like looking at the app and stuff, I'll go higher quality to figure out what's going on. But I do listen to streams more than I watch them. Talking about Cloudbot, Cloudster, what the heck? Yeah, I should continue to develop, but it's just too hard, and my mind is not here. And I'm trying not to give excuses and at least stream every day. I think even if half an hour at least I'll stream. I should start opening streams with working on with demoing my software on my own streams. That's the goal for later. That's also like really good dog fooding, trying your own things and it works, doing the thing, and then get my own bugs and my own issues and stuff. Because I might have the tendency to like building more than using the tools. That's what I did with the 3D printer and the CNC and the plastic injection molder. But yeah, I need to use the app more and build it for myself. It should work for me. And then I'll feel the issues more and solve them. And then I'd probably have a bit of a then I'll probably hi. um yeah, maybe now he knows he sees I'm live. He understand what I'm talking about. You're in this small screen over here. I can put you straight on there. It's a bit delayed, but yeah. Totally looping. Yeah, I was just saying I watch a lot of streamers and especially building the public and startup. Yeah, if you want to watch this is the main page. I think I showed you this before, but this is what I'm working on. Um, yeah, I started being a bit. It's really hot here. I tried to stream a bit, but find it hard to concentrate and now go back to development. I I think I made this short stream and I'll finish soon. And yeah, come back tomorrow. Thanks for jumping in. I'll probably keep watching you, but low key. Don't need to be as active watching as when I stream and think about every small thing. It's just very hot in here. I don't have an AC in the office, and I'm just toasted trying to think about actual development and anti-grav. I don't know how this thing is running from yesterday and didn't run out of the limits. um, yeah, need to solve this. I have like a task list. Where's my task list? Yeah, I'm basically going over and building stuff, and I'm showing what I'm building. This is the task. So I need to finish the transcription stuff from yesterday. It's not working perfectly. Then I need to make sure the steps are flowing correctly. And I've talked about some of the user feedback, people reviewing. I put a couple of groups, or I'll just give you a gist of what I was talking about before. I like someone showed this is kind of like the flow you need to consider building the product, having a funnel um, for people to progress and creating content to bring people in. and just jump in between these. So I'm working a lot of the product and I've neglected content a bit. So I was catching up on what happened while I didn't stream for a couple of days. And this is just some groups of feedback of people that I talked to and what they said. Of course, there's the not relevant group, the people that tried it immediately, and then I see how sucky my software is actually and what I forgot and what doesn't work, and start fixing that. And the third group is probably half and half. I mean, people want to watch me use it. I should do that more. I should do it in the start of the streams and get a cadence on that and have some of that on the main page as well. And people talking about running it in a safe environment like a VM. I want to help them and create some kind of Docker container, Docker compose, something for them out of the box, copy paste. Here, it's as secure as I can get it for you. Maybe that will elevate some of people's security concerns and trust concerns, like limited, oh, can't use your computer. Here are the 3 directories you allow it. Here's the networking you allow it. I'm gonna limit it. Goes to my site to get these 3 files. Goes to post hogs if you allow. This is my telemetry. Um, but this will also get updated. I'm waiting for a new bank card to buy a domain and revamp the name and do it under the domain. So this would change to a dedicated domain. But yeah, but that's kind of where my state is currently with development. Yeah, I'm gonna finish the stream. I'm probably gonna watch you and take a break first and then watch you and continue developing. That's my flow. Catch you on your stream. Bye for now for anyone watching. Cheers.